Now, let us discuss. Some students have asked me that how to become a full stack developer. So, suppose first of all, let me explain that what is full stack developer. So, the programmer who knows both the front end and back end technologies means. Suppose if any programmer whomever have studied computer science engineering, otherwise other streams like mechanical, civil, electrical, electronics and communication engineering, but they have not studied much in computer subjects. But after that, if he wants to switch himself towards the computer programmer as a programmer, that moment full stack developer, he is such a person, he knows all the things to develop the front end and back end technologies. So first of all, becoming a full stack developer, so it involves combination of both front end and back end development skills, okay, with the additional knowledge of databases and relevant technologies. So he should be able to understand the skills, both the front end and back end. Apart from that, databases are what you know. So database management systems are there, like your MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, Sybase. So many relational database management systems are there. Within that, we can create the databases in the form of tables, means columns and rows. So to access the database, whatever the data created in the traditional relational database management systems, you must be familiar with the SQL, structured query language, so that you can access the data whichever stored in your databases. Okay, and so first of all, you need to start from the basic, learn the start. Suppose if you really want to become a full stack developer, you start from the basics. First, start with the fundamentals of programming language such as HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Just recently I started to teach HTML, CSS and JavaScript. I told you that these three languages, every web developer, he must be able to understand these three languages. Hypertext markup language to design the websites, and cascading style sheets for styling other web pages. For JavaScript, for it is also for web pages. So these three will be part of your front end development. So, and then a language like Python, JavaScript and its JavaScript framework, Node.js, Ruby or Java for backend development. So HTML, CSS and JavaScript, both three will be part of your front end, and a Python, otherwise Java, otherwise JavaScript framework Node.js, otherwise Ruby. These will be part of your backend development. So next, front end development. So you need to understand the front end technologies like framework, CSS framework, that is Bootstrap. Bootstrap is the universal, very famous framework for your CSS. Okay, and Tailwind, that is also one framework for CSS. JavaScript frameworks are there, React, Angular, Vue.js. These all be part of your front end. Okay. Next, and responsive web design principles. So under the backend development, you need to explore yourself server side programming and databases. As I told you that so many databases are there, they are part of relational database management systems. As I told you that SQL and NoSQL. Okay, SQL, MySQL and Postgres, Sybase, Oracle. So many databases, they are called relational database management systems. You can develop your data in the form of tables. Okay, so under the backend development, you must be able to understand how to manage your servers. So we need to learn the technologies like Node.js. Node.js is what? JavaScript. JS means extension JavaScript. So it is one framework of your JavaScript framework, which will be mostly used for backend development. Try to understand. Node.js, it is a framework of JavaScript which will be mostly used for backend development. For Angular, React, Angular, these and Vue.js, these are the frameworks They are also part of your JavaScript frameworks, but they will be mostly used for front end development. You need to recognize the difference. Okay, these three frameworks, React, Angular, Vue.js, they will be used for front end development. They are the JavaScript frameworks. The only the framework Node.js that will be used for backend development. Okay, and one more like Express.js also, that will be used for backend development. So Django is a Python library, and Flask is the Python library. Ruby, if you are learning Ruby on Rails, Ruby on Rails is a library for your Ruby. And for Java, Java Spring and Spring Boot, like Spring and Spring Boot for Java. Okay, they are all part of your backend development. So apart from that, databases, as I told you that for the databases we need to understand different types of databases: relational, non-relational. Relational database management systems, as I told you that so many examples I have briefed you. Relational database, they are the traditional DBMS, that is what your MySQL, Postgres, Sybase, Oracle, like what you know. NoSQL, so NoSQL, these are what you know, these are not traditional, not traditional. They will not follow the traditional database management systems. Within this NoSQL, the programmer need not to strictly adhere to SQL. No need for any structured query language. Means the database whatever you designed in NoSQL, no need to use the structured query language. Okay, and learn how to work with them. Common databases include MySQL, PostgreSQL, MongoDB. Okay, these are what you are part of your databases. And Firebase. So version control systems. So version control systems like what your Git. Okay, and Git will be used as a version control system to track the code changes, code changes, and Git will be interact with your GitHub. So that is a repository. It is mostly used to store your source code. It is being managed by Microsoft. So you must be able to understand both the version control systems like what your Git and GitHub. GitHub is it is a repository to store your source code. Okay, so these Git and GitHub, they will be used for collaborative development, collective development, and managing code changes. Okay, next is what APIs, application programming interfaces. So you must be able to understand how to create and consume APIs. This involves in understanding of RESTful API principles and authentication methods, and integrating APIs into your applications. So application programming interface, that is very important. Next, deployment and hosting. So once you have developed your software, the otherwise application, you must be able to deploy that app, whether in your cloud based platform, otherwise in a server. Okay, so that's why you have somewhat skills over cloud computing platforms like AWS. Okay, and Azure, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud, GCC, Google Cloud computing platforms, deployment and hosting. So whether your application should be deposited, means hosted in a server, otherwise in cloud computing platforms. Okay, next word. Next is somewhat next. So this is DevOps and CI/CD. DevOps means development and operations. So it is an approach to combine both the development system, software development, and IT operations. So it is approach to combine both the system development, means software development, and IT operations, so that the software can be designed very quickly, and that can be delivered to the client very quickly. So within this CA and CD, continuous integration and continuous delivery, otherwise development. So some tools